Scott here. I'm making a new deck, and you can see it here. Well, I've already sort of made it, so I'm going to show you the deck really. And I do enjoy this list. I've always enjoyed this sort of order control. It's always just made me feel good to play a more slow list and just also slow down my opponent. I will show you the list now. Let's open it up. The list editor. Boop. I guess it'll open. Right? It'll open. So this is my new video series that I'm doing on the stream. If you do happen to get the notification because you are following me, there's only a few people following me right now, and then they pop in, they can even talk to me while I'm making the YouTube video, but I really don't think anyone's gonna pop in, 1 p.m. here Eastern time, because I got the day off. So yeah, but without further ado, let's move into the deck list. Order control. So of course we have Aspect of the Sea. Very good control card by completely locking down our opponent's lane. Very standard. People that have been playing this game for a minute really know all about that card. Next up is Knight Heralder. I do like being able to control how fast my units can rotate. He's just an outstanding, solid card. There is room in the deck to replace him with something else, but I do like having the fact that I can just play units and be rotating them slowly over time without having to draw certain cards. Just kind of play units and then play ability at the end. And then we have the Lokian Prince, a very turbo rotative type of card. Play a dude, ability, that dude probably does damage that turn after, and then afterwards play any elf. And you should be good. And then Lotan, another, excuse me, another hero, which is also just an easy rotation, not turbo, just easy rotation. Unit, ability, unit, and then beast. And then we have 6 beasts in the deck, 6 elf beasts, so it synergizes well with having other elves that need to be played, like on Lokian Prince. We're going to move into the blessings next. Abjuration, very standard, very good against other opposing units, slowing them down, doing some damage. Divine Blast, just nugging them for 6, gaining 2. I like it. I mean, it's just good. Does a lot of damage. We do want to seal those games out because it is an easy rotation but slow rotations on our champions. When we get towards the end of the game, they start to get in sort of nuke range, where nuking them for 7 or 6 can potentially just straight up kill them. And I've won most of my games through blessing flips. And then we have Healing Storm. You can replace the Healing Storm with something else, sort of along the same lines of nuking them. So I don't want to discount anybody for wanting to play some damaging spells. Like, let's see, if you go into blessings, there's plenty of blessings that do damage. We are playing a Giran spell, so you'd have to pick Giran sort of unit blessing. So you can play blessed weapons, though that requires some work and things like that. Now, if you weren't playing any Giran spells, you could play. Oh, actually, here. 3 damage to your opponent, increases by 1 for each highlighted unit. You could definitely play that and sort of just nuke your opponent. So it's very easy to just swap these out and play like that. And then that we have 3 nukes, 1 small nuke, but it's board control. Next up, excuse me, we will go through the actions. Okay, so we have 3 Disruptive Liberators because controlling their board is just a very prime effect in this deck. We definitely want to have as many board controlling type cards. We want to slow down their turbo rotations as quick as possible, and most champions require them to play units, and stopping them to play units for a while and then having them to spend more time drawing cards and playing cards elsewhere is really good for us. We have 1 Divine Vengeance. It does suffer from the law of diminishing returns. Every time you draw an extra one of these, it gets sort of hard to play them because it relies on your opponent to kill your units. And sometimes your opponent, if they realize, well, I don't really need to kill anything, well, the Divine Vengeance is going to get stuck in your hand. So we only want 1 of those. We have 3 Flesh to Stones. Very good against destruction decks. Pretty much any deck that gains additional actions. Death likes to gain additional actions with that little Vargeist they have. So this is really a destruction hoser. And just drawing 1 card right off the bat on your turn is just really good. And drawing a card at the beginning of your turn also feels very good. And feels like a lot of other card games too. So outstanding card, and straight up hoses another deck. It goes well with our aspect. Next up we have Hell Saber, Echelon Guard. A little slow, but I mean we are playing a slow deck, but we're moving a unit twice, so 1 and then 2, and then with Lotan that's going to be 2 damage and then 3 damage for 5 damage. 5 damage and kill 2 guys. You can't really argue. That's just a really good card. It is a bit slow, but I mean, to balance out this card, it needs to be honest with you. Very good card. And you're going to see some other effects that it does help. Let's see. Next up we have the Hurricane Raptor. Staple rare. Very good. Just locking down that lane, stopping them from rotating that champion, putting them on hold to allow our other cards and stuff to do damage and such. Sort of advance our gameplay while slow down theirs. Next up, another new card, Razor Shell Harpoon Alopex. We're going to dormant their unit, sort of locking that lane down again. I mean, there's not too much more to say about controlling units and stuff. It's just that's what this does. Next up we have, let's see, Righteousness. We have one of these because it helps rotate our aspect. We only have one. Reduce the damage that you can receive by 2, but do 3 damage right away. And that will flip over our damage and our spell blessings. No, just one of them, but you can do it on each one either one you want. But you do it on the damage corner. That's the time when you play this. Unless you're about to die, then of course you play before then. Skybolt Judicator, another amazing card. Let me tell you. And you're gonna see some of the synergies if you haven't seen them already with the removal. So the best removal in the game, still Triumphant Smash. Imagine doing 4 damage to them, killing their guy, putting it back, and then slamming it forward with a Heralder to do 7. You know, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You know, it's just so much damage, and the ability to just slam that damage when you want to versus when your opponent just trying to help you choose is very powerful. We have Stand Together, a card that not too many people have been playing recently, but gain 3 health, increased by 1 for each highlighted unit. There is a Stormcast version of this, but we're not playing too many Stormcast units, and it's gain 1 health and then +1 for every Stormcast. So we'd have to have at least 2 Stormcasts in play just to make it on the base amount. So this card is better in that sort of sense. And the reason we're playing it is, again, we're a control deck. We want to stay alive a little longer, but primarily it does rotate our Aspect of the Sea. So we will play it to get it off this rotation, and then play another spell, and then again that Righteous card here to do that damage. Move here, Righteousness to do that damage. Next up, Tack Remove. So Tack Rem's still a really good removal spell. It's not as good as the other one, but it does rotate things further ahead. It's good at getting things out of the way. If your opponent has like a removal unit, and they're just like, oh, well, if you play a unit there, I'll remove it next turn, so you can just move it into that rotation quicker, get their effects over with, like get their damage reduction effects over with, things like that. It's good. Sometimes it's a double-edged sword, though. Sometimes if they only have one thing and you're trying to remove it, and it's like, well, if you move it ahead one space forward, it's going to get its sweet effect off, and you're like, well, crap. So it's not always the best, but it's all right. Next up, we have 3 Thundering Concussors. Obviously, very good against Skarbrand. This card will hose Skarbrand. It doesn't hose the whole deck, but it will hose Skarbrand completely. Basically, it's going to render his ability buff completely useless, which is very good. And you want to hold on to one of these when you're playing against Skarbrand, because once they get to 15 damage, that's when they're going to unload all their damage on you. So you're going to want to be able to save one of these, play it, they get to 15, and then suddenly their entire game plan is for naught. So they've either stockpiled cards or have not been rotating another champion to try and kill you all at once on their Skarbrand. So that's going to stop them from doing that. Also, it locks down any champion trying to play an ability to, fast rotate Turbo Quest. And I think that's all the units. Yep, that's all the units. And guys, I do want to thank you for watching. I hope you had some fun here watching some videos, and I hope you have an outstanding day. Thanks for watching.